cycle to week 6. This is our last drawing lesson. And just a reminder to, if you like the idea, play some classical music in the background while your kids are drawing. This lesson, week 6, is going to be on texture. And we talked week 1, I think, about identifying trees. Week 2 was identifying leaves. This week, we're going to go to the bark of a tree. And again, she's got a bunch of information here at the beginning that talks about the identification of different trees based on what kinds of bark they have and how bark may change with age or with seasons. Also, how healthy the tree is may impact what the bark looks like. So we slow down and we use our observation skills and we ask, what do we see? Is there color? Is there shading? Does the trunk have large pieces of bark that are peeling? Are they thick? Are they thin? Are they small? Are they large? Are they papery? Are they shaggy? Are there cracks or lines in the bark? Are they parallel with the trunk of the tree, or are they perpendicular? Does the bark look like it's sectioned or in chunks? Does it have unique characteristics such as spines or stickiness? So what she's given us to use is this sheet, and I'll have one of these. Your students can look at these in pairs. But it just has, different types of trees and the bark that is on each of them. She also gave us this week a 1-sentence summary about the characteristics of trees. Again, this would be kind of fun to put up on the board and let your older students copy it down in their science journals, even would be great. Or their moms can take a picture and add it to their regular memory work if they need a little bit extra challenge. But our element of art that we're studying this week is texture. So again, we're going to go back and remember that our oils help us create all of these elements of art that we see, but texture is this one down here at the bottom. This is that week 1 mini poster. Our eyes see texture because of how light bounces off the surface of an item. So high contrast areas give the appearance of an overlap or an edge, but gradual change gives a rounded appearance. The direction, the way that you color, if you color side to side or up and down or diagonal, and how long each one of those strokes are can create the appearance of texture. Each mark shows a small area of shadow. Therefore, the direction and length of the marks needs to be consistent with the texture of your subject. To make an object look smooth out all the marks so that you don't see the pencil lines or the brush strokes or where the marker stops and starts. The actual texture of your base material can affect the look of your simulated texture, obviously. So if I'm coloring on glossy paper, I'm going to get a different look than if I'm coloring on watercolor paper or mixed media paper or cardstock or tissue paper. Artists often include more texture and contrast at the focal point of their work to help draw the viewer's eye towards that. So that's worth mentioning. Again, all of this kind of just depending on the capacity that you feel like your kids are going to be able to even get 1 or 2 things. I always err on the side of giving more than you think, but trying not to just be a constant water hose of too much information. In this project, the kids are going to draw 3 tree trunks and 3 types of texture. And again, they can bring in examples or pictures from their own home or neighborhood. You can use the ones that she has provided us here in this sheet. They can bring in a tree identification guide if they got one in one of the earlier weeks and find a tree trunk or type of bark that they really want to draw. They're welcome to bring that in too. A simple pencil is really the easiest thing to do, but colored pencils kind of make it fun, especially if the bark has a particular hue to it. So I'll show you some examples of that too. For the least experienced, these younger kids, I would say draw 1 tree trunk and show the texture of a simple bark like a birch or an aspen. So No, sorry. I see a beech tree on here, but I don't see a birch tree on here. And maybe she meant to say beech because it's actually pretty simple. I'm going to assume that she did. So a beech tree, that's this guy right here. The aspen is this guy right here. So, you can just have the kids, even if you wanted to have them trace it in pencil and then color it in colored pencil, that would be fine too. Level 2 would be to draw 2 tree trunks and have the students draw the texture of a simple bark and a slightly more complex. So draw one of the more simple ones and then maybe a eucalyptus, which is this guy down here. Level 3 would be to draw 3 tree trunks on your piece of paper and then create 3 different textures of bark. And then level 4 would be to do it with just 2 trees, but then go find a live tree or have brought one in and draw the bark that they see from what they're looking at. And then this says the paper bark maple tree bark is one of the most challenging to draw, so reserve it for your advanced artists. That's this guy right here in the middle. See how its bark is peeling and it kind of rolls as it peels off? So that one is the most difficult to draw. So you might want to steer your younger students or your less experienced students away from that one. Here are some examples. Let me show you that she gave. This would be probably a more advanced student has drawn this. But you can see how just using a pencil and pencil strokes, you can create the texture of each one of those tree barks. And then here is one where the student took 3 tree trunks. They did 3 different types of bark, and then they colored it. So that one is really neat too. This is what it's saying when it says draw 2 trunks, draw 3 trunks. Just draw just the trunks of the tree on a piece of paper. So that is going to be our task for week 6, and that is all for the first 6 weeks of drawing.